to Bear Lifestyle, the podcast where we talk about taboo topics to make them normal and acceptable. I'm your host, Simona Spark, and I'm so happy that you are here. We are about to get naked by stripping away insecurities, judgments, and all kinds of limitations to reveal the essence of who we really are, Bear. Bold, authentic, radical, express. Let's go. Welcome to Bear Lifestyle Podcast. Welcome back for those of you that have been here before, and special welcome for those of you that you landed here for the first time. I'm happy that you find this space. Let's start with celebrations. I'm celebrating myself and I'm celebrating you and everyone who listens and watches this episode. Cheers, cheers. Today I'm celebrating with lemon and mint tea. Gotta mix them up sometimes, isn't it? Okay, so today I want to have a conversation about BDSM practices. And specifically, I want to focus on just breaking down what BDSM is. Before we even started, if you are curious, what are your BDSM inclinations, open the show notes and take the free quiz, Kink Appetite Quiz. It's very simple, 10 questions. Just get your pen and paper ready. I know, very, very old-fashioned. And just be honest about your answers. So let's get started. What BDSM stands for. So BDSM practices are divided in three big groups: bondage and discipline, dominance and submission, sadism and masochism. What all of them have in common, they are built on the four fundamental BDSM pillars. We talk about them and we describe them in a previous podcast. If you didn't see it, go watch that one. And the four pillars are trust, respect, honesty, and communication. Now, underneath of everything is consent. I cannot stress enough the importance of consent. In fact, this last week, just on my Instagram, on the specific post where I'm talking about consent throughout the sexual act, it started quite a controversy in a comments thread. That being said, I just want to let you know that I have zero tolerance for people attacking other people in my post. I'm just deleting and ban those people from my Instagram. And that's that. While I'm open to a constructive and educating debate and open to different opinions and perspectives, yes, that's good. And I think that that's a healthy space to be and to help each other grow and expand our views. Attack and cruelty and ugliness is just, I cannot let that one fly. If that's what you want to do, please just go do on your own account. And also, if you absolutely do not like the content of my account, you have the option to unfollow. It's very easy. It's just one click away. Okay, so let's get back to our topic, BDSM practices. And let's start with the first big group, bondage and discipline. Bondage, of course, adds a thrilling dimension to intimacy. It's a dynamic of control and surrender, like pretty much everything else in BDSM, right? Now, discipline, it's not about setting rules, following, and if you don't follow the rules, you are going to be punished. Discipline, practice and bondage and discipline goes deeper than that. It's a profound expression of trust, communication, and mutual understanding inside of the bondage and discipline practices. Regardless if you are the one that enforce the boundaries and the rules, you are the one that do the tights, the knots, or you are the receiver. Underneath of everything, Bondage and discipline, it's an art that enhances pleasure and connection. It is a power dynamic where both players are drawing pleasure from this practice. Very important. It's never one-sided. In here, like in any other practices, and I know I'm repeating myself, and I want to repeat myself, consent is the key. Consent is the key element that turns feeling restricted or powerless into pleasure and excitement. If you follow me for a while, you know that I'm a survivor of human trafficking. And one of the traumatizing experiences that I had in that period of time was being tied down. So now, of course, I went through a lot of healing. What I learned when I got into a space, when I opened the door to BDSM practices in my life, through bondage, I actually recreated a past traumatizing experience. Now, pay attention. You should not be doing this if you haven't done any healing of your trauma, because the big risk is to re-traumatize yourself, and that's not what we are looking for. When I got myself with a partner, and I specifically asked to be tied in a way as detailed as I could remember that traumatizing experience happened, I did enough healing to, first of all, trust myself that I could stop at any point, to trust my partner that he's gonna follow my directions. And the reason that I done it was two. One, to check if there are any other triggers that I might need to work on, that there might be some trauma residue in my body that I could pull it out so I could heal it, right? And second, I wanted to transform that traumatizing memory that left such a print in my body. I wanted to transform it into a pleasurable moment, because there is such a powerful way of taking your control back, taking your power back. Simply put, from something that once upon a time was something that other people did to you without your consent, that caused you pain and trauma. In this space, I had the opportunity to ask for it and to draw pleasure from it. Very empowering. Again, do not recreate any traumatizing memories without, first of all, do some healing around that. Second, get the right support, the right facilitator. And third, when you're ready, make sure that you are in a safe space with the people that you trust to walk you through the process. Okay, let's move to the second big group in BDSM practices, DNS, dominance and submission. This is probably I don't know if it's the most common one or is the most known one. Let's get something very clear. Dominance, it's not about commanding. It's not. Dominance, it's about guidance. Guidance of the balance between strength and sensitivity. And submission, it's not about being weak. It's about surrendering. It's about drawing pleasure and finding liberation from letting go. I made this point last week as well about predators out there. They're hiding themselves behind the dom mask. A real dom will never push you and force you to say, do, behave in any way that makes you feel uncomfortable or doesn't sit right with you. So that's how you know that that's not a dom. That's most likely a predator. So pay attention to that. And being in a submissive role has nothing to do with just following the rules that your dom might create on the spot. Consent still needs to be there. It has to be there. If you play the role of a sub, it's because You are trusting your partner to guide you through the process, and you draw pleasure from let it go of control, and you're fully surrendering. And then there is a third role in this DS dynamic, which is switch. But these are people, they are enjoying both roles. I'm one of them. So again, regardless what role are you playing, dom, sub, switch, consent needs to be there. Trust needs to be there. Respect needs to be there. Communication needs to be there. Honesty needs to be there. And the common goal is to draw pleasure. And I mean, all parties need to draw pleasure in order to be a successful experience. Okay, let's move to the number 3, sadism and masochism. This one is the most judged and the most misunderstood. I admit I used to be one of these people who, when I heard BDSM, first thing will pop in my mind will be like whips and pains and chains and cages and humiliations and like violence. Violence. Sadism and masochism, again, have the same common goal, to draw pleasure. So the role of sadist is to control and inflict pain, and they draw pleasure from it. Again, they could only do that if they have the masochist approval. It's consent. They are not doing that without consent, right? And then the masochist is the one that draw pleasure from receiving the pain, as well as the sub role. They are surrendering to being controlled by the partner, in this group by the sadist. While this might sound extreme and wild and abnormal, or whatever the labels you might want to choose, don't forget this is a consensual dance of trust and exploration. And even though it might look intense for others, the boundaries are respected, the consent is there, the communication is there, and the pleasure is there. So do you see, it doesn't matter what practices we are talking about. I don't care if we are in BDSM space, I don't care if we are in a vanilla space, it's all about consent. If you haven't listened or watched the previous episode of our podcast, please do so. I'm doing a full description of the full 4 pillars in BDSM and how to adopt them in any of our relationship, really. If I learn anything from BDSM practices, and don't get me wrong, I didn't experience all of them, and probably I will never will. I did experience some. I'm curious about others that I'm planning on experience, and there are others that I have no interest, no curiosity. But I will say this, it deepened everything for me. And I'm not saying that that's the case, I'm just talking for myself here. The trust, the connection, the communication, the double checking, like are you sure that you understand what I'm asking? Tell me back what I say. I want to ensure that you really understand my desire, my preferences, right? So it's just the communication. It's so much more direct. If a communication could be more direct than just a direct, I don't know, but it's just feel that it's much more direct, more detail, double checking on everything. The trust, of course, need to be there. And as I said last week, the consent gets to be expressed throughout the process. So again, if you want to find out like what are your BDSM inclinations, just open the show notes and take the kink appetite quiz. It's free, 10 questions, easy, just kind of to give you a start, like where you might be. And please take that test even if you take a similar test a long time ago, because you know those preferences are changing as we are changing and we are evolving. And for those of you that really want to open the door to BDSM practices, or you find yourself, having resistance or curiosity about your kinks, and you want to bring it in your life, regardless if you're single or in a relationship, I open 2 spaces for women, 2 spaces for men, and 1 space for a couple. They're curious, exploring, and bringing the BDSM practices in their sex life. So if this is you, you will find the link in the show notes to book a call with me. This is not a regular discovery call. It is a call where we get to know each other and to see if we are a right fit for this type of work. But it is a full-on coaching session. So if we decided that this is not a fit, what I could promise you is that I will help you have a better understanding where you are, what the resistance or insecurities might be, give you a few tools how to work around them to help you just move forward on your journey, regardless if that journey is going to be with me or with somebody else. So that's what I have for today. In closing, I just want to say this again. I do highly, highly recommend, do not try to transform trauma in pleasure to BDSM practices without doing any healing prior. Also, get the right support. Find your coach, your therapist, whatever works for you, and ensure after you did the healing, after you find the people that you trust in, after you find the partner that you want to practice with, ensure that you are in the safe space to do so. And most importantly, that you are in the space on your journey where you could trust yourself, that you are not going to re-traumatize yourself. That's all for today. I wish you an amazing day, a fabulous weekend. Please take the kink appetite quiz and find out what are your BDSM inclinations, and go ahead and have a bear experience. I will see you next week or every day on Instagram at Simona Spark World. See you next time. And this is where we landed. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And if you enjoyed the show, make sure you leave me a review to let me know. For more bear experiences, please go to simonaspark.com/bear and follow us on Instagram at Simona Spark World. I can't wait to have you back. Until then, be bear, bold, authentic, radical, expressed. See you next time.